TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
This is my handwriting. Terrible. So I wrote a best-selling book in 2 weeks. In this video, you're going to learn exactly how I did that and why it's related to treadmills. Guys, do you ever wonder how long it takes to actually tarmac or asphalt pave an entire estate? Oh man, it's crazy. I'm looking out my window and I'm like, whoa, how long does it take these dudes, dude? ADHD, I'm always thinking, whoa, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you are new around here, my name is Dan. I have autism, ADHD, OCD, and dyslexia, and I'm making weekly videos all about my experience and my journey and stuff like that. So if you want to join me on the journey, then remember to hit the subscribe button by clicking the notification bell down below. Hope you are awesome. Right, guys. So I wrote this book. This is my book, Autism for Adults, a approachable guide to living excellently on the autism spectrum, right? But this book wasn't easy to write in a way of conventional ideas. And I'm going to get into all of that right now, but I basically wanted to write a book for a while on autism. I got the opportunity to, so I'm going to dive right into that. Okay, so about a year ago, I get this call from a publisher, and they're just basically like, hey, we love the work you're doing, Dan, and blah, blah, blah. Have you ever thought about writing a book? And I'm like, well, yeah, I thought about writing it. Maybe this is the time to do it. So yeah, the book publisher pretty much said, okay, well, this is the terms, this is how you do it. Are you interested? And I was like, dude, I'm totally interested. Okay, so this is where it kind of gets a bit crazy. So having dyslexia and OCD and ADHD and being an autistic person, I was kind of like, well, how on earth am I supposed to write a book? I've had a book written before, but I used a ghostwriter, but I was like, how am I supposed to do this? How am I, as a dyslexic dude, how am I going to turn this into, a thing? So basically I Googled, I went on Google, I was just like, hey, how do you write a book? What's the kind of premise of writing a book? I mean, I've written a dissertation before, but I was basically playing Minecraft when I did my chemistry degree. I made these tools, so it wasn't really the same as writing a book that people are going to go in the store, pick up and buy and be like, oh, this dude knows what he's talking about. Because I'm super hyperactive. I can't just sit at my desk and just type away some kind of typical author by candlelight. I'm this hyperactive ADHD autism dude who has dyslexia. So my handwriting is terrible. You don't see my handwriting? This is my handwriting. Terrible. So I was somewhere there at a loss where oh my god, what do I do? I decided I would Google it, find out typically how do people do it, and those things weren't really accustomed to me. I couldn't do it in those traditional ways. Regardless, time and tide wait for no man. It was fast approaching. The publisher had already said, hey Dan, here's a bunch of money, go and write the book. So I was like, dang, I have to actually do this. The clock is ticking. Damn, it's almost November and I haven't had anything written down. This is crazy. So I was like, I have to do this. I have to do this some way, and I have to do it fast, right? It just has to come. So I did it. I thought to myself, okay, I'll sit down. I'll grab my keyboard. I'll sit down on my computer, and I'm going to be this creative monster. I'm going to sit down and be like, yo, we can do this. And so I sat down, and I tried to do this, but I can't sit still. I'm getting up and walking over there. I'm like, hey, what's this fidget spinner do? Dude, I can't sit still for 10 minutes. I can't do it. So to sit down for hours on end writing a book, it's never going to happen, dude. So I was like, holy smokes. Regardless of that, I decided that I would try it. It didn't work. I failed miserably. I tried doing it, and seriously, I'm not kidding. I had to get up and start jumping about every 10, 15 minutes. Because that's kind of the typical idea. If you have autism, you have ADHD combined, you're gonna be susceptible to things like this. It's gonna be hard to concentrate. I do take, things like Brillia and stuff like that help with my focus and concentration. But in terms of actually just sitting down and doing this one thing, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it was a challenge. Okay, so I'm like, look, I'm a clever guy. I can sort this out. I can figure this out somehow. How am I going to do this? Then I realized something very interesting. When I am wanting to learn something, I learn loads of stuff, and I love listening to audiobooks. Because I'm dyslexic, it's hard to read books, even though I do push myself to try and read, because obviously reading, the more practice makes progress, yada yada. But then I was like, okay, I'm just going to figure out what I do when I read. Well, when I read, I listen to audiobooks, because I learn through running, right? So when I'm outside running, I'm outside and listen to audiobooks, things are great. I'm having tactile feedback. My legs are giving me feedback. I'm the wind's in my hair, everything's great because I'm physically feeling something sensational as the data is going in. So I was like, hey, maybe I could do this the other way around. Maybe I could like turn this around, like reverse the process. Maybe I could like talk to my iPhone, right, whilst I'm out on a run, and that's how I'm going to write my book. And that's what I tried to do, but it didn't work quite as I planned. You see, as I was learning and listening to books, there was something vitally different going on to when I was actually trying to create a book. When I'm listening to a book, there's no microphone input, which means I can go out in all weathers and everything's cozy and great. There was this big issue. It was November, it was dark, it was raining, and it was windy. So I'm going out, I'm like running outside, speaking into my, and it wasn't happening. All the muffled stuff from the air around me was muffling the iPhone, and the iPhone couldn't hear me, so it failed miserably. But the idea was there. Like, I went out on a 5K run, and I tried talking to my phone. I got half a page of gobbledygook, because it was just kind of crazy. But it worked. Like, the idea was there, so I was like, dang. Like, how am I going to finish this? So, I came home, feeling miserable, and it's still November, clock's still ticking, I'm like, oh my goodness, like, how am I going to do this? Then I realized, I have a home treadmill. I could just, like, run on my treadmill for like an hour every day for the next 8 days and have this book completed, because there's no outside noise, it's insulated, like I could talk to my microphone, I'm still running, I'm still giving that tactile feedback. And that's what I did. I basically got on my treadmill and I ran for 8 hours, basically over a period of 8 days, or 1 hour every day for 8 days, in the evening, so when everyone kind of like chilled out and the kids had gone to bed. And I did it. I sat there and wrote my book. So the result was that basically I had this book I'd written. Within 2 weeks, I'd had a completed manuscript, or as good as a manuscript, to give to my editors. I was like, holy smokes, I did it. I win. This was just groundbreaking for me, because I'd never really kind of come across a solution where I was like, this is it. Okay, so part 2 of that was I had to come back down, I had to sit back down at my desk, and I had to use an AI app called Grammarly. So I got all of the text and I dumped it into the AI app, and I said, make this Grammarly correct and punctually correct. I was home free, the book was written, and it was punctually kind of like, it was there. This was groundbreaking for me, and I really felt kind of like quite an achievement from this, like, from coming from this crazy experience of setting sail thinking, I'm going to be able to, I have to write a book, am I going to be able to do this, to becoming a best-selling author in 3 countries in the genre of autism. That was USA, UK, and Canada. And I did that all within 2 weeks of writing this book or dictating this book, which was just crazy fascinating. So what can we take away from all this? The feeling of awesomeness that I felt was almost overwhelming. Like, I was living proof that, like, you can literally do anything if you put your mind to it. Can you figure out a way around this? So now, like, I'm going to apply the same principle of problem solving my way around everything in life that I do anywhere when life lays out a problem to me, right? And now I'm going to implement this approach. Now I can actually teach you this approach. I can teach you everything that I know and how I've done this through my entire life. And if you want in on this, I actually have a program coming out soon called Chaos to Confidence, and it's actually very limited. There's only 200 spaces available. It's going to be available very soon. Now, if you want in on this, on the waiting list, please click the link in the description down below to pop your email address in the waiting list, and you'll be first to know. I'm also going to pin it to the comment of this video. You can apply anything like this to your life, and just remember, like, if I can do this, like, literally anybody can do this.